I'm really excited to be here. As Raven mentioned, I work at AOL. I'm director of Citizen AOL, and I'm here today to speak on behalf of Makers. This will be a fun, interactive presentation. We have some videos to share with you at the end, which will be great. I'm really humbled for the opportunity to speak among leaders like the ones we've heard today, and I'm delighted to be standing in a room full of powerful and spirited girls like you. I was thrilled to meet Raven, who's leading the charge at my alma mater, Vanderbilt University. So it's just great to, see the girls that are, really active in the community. Today, I want to touch upon what brings us all together, which is something that's near and dear to my heart, which is women and girls empowerment. I want to tell a brief story about a woman role model who has inspired me. Kathrine Switzer was the first woman to run the Boston Marathon. They tried to drag her down as she was literally running the marathon. She couldn't use her name to get in. And, they did everything they could to prevent her from running the marathon. It was said during that time that they thought a woman's uterus would fall out if she ran the marathon. Crazy things. And she persevered, she stood up for herself, and she did it. She finished the marathon. And she went on to influence women's sports, and she made it possible for women to run, to make running an Olympic sport. I'm really inspired by her story, being a female athlete myself. I'm a former ice hockey player, and I worked hard with my team members to make it recognized as a varsity sport in my school. We actually had to go and petition to our board to have it be recognized. They thought we should spend our time playing sports that were, more suitable to girls, like playing volleyball and basketball. But we were really determined to have ice hockey be recognized as a girls' sport. So Kathrine Switzer, she just is one of the female role models that I look up to and can learn from. She inspires me to be my best self. Across the world, in every industry, whether it's sports, government, business, music, film, there's so many women who have made an impact on the world through their groundbreaking achievement. We call these women makers. Makers are women who have made an impact on the world through their groundbreaking achievements and that inspire us all. Makers are thought leaders, activists, entertainers, writers, and athletes. They're the known and unknown, the role models of the now and the pioneers of the past. It is the makers women like me and the girls like you that are the heart of our brand. While each individual maker's achievement is remarkably different, they share a common DNA that binds them together, sharing their journey to inspire change. You can go to the next slide. So in 2012, Makers.com launched with the help of AOL, and since then, we've collected these journeys to create the largest collection of women's stories ever assembled. We have stories of more than 300 women and over 3,000 videos. If you haven't visited Makers.com, I encourage you all to check it out. You'll get lost just looking through the videos. You can search by different channel categories, things you're interested in. You can go to the next slide. We have stories from women such as the First Lady, Michelle Obama, Caitlyn Jenner, Oprah Winfrey, Ellen DeGeneres, and the championship tennis player. We'll give you a preview of Serena's.
When I won the Open for the first time, I think I was 17, I knew I was going to win before the tournament started. I just had this feeling in my gut. And ever since then, there's been a bounty on my head. I was the youngest of 5 girls growing up. I was really small for my age. My sisters always took care of me. Venus was always protecting me and always been there to really look after me. He wanted to make sure that we would be tough enough to handle lots of different situations that we may face in our lives, and he also didn't want us to expect an easy life and to know the value of things and to know and appreciate hard work and see where hard work can lead you. Being on the tennis court, I feel like it was just always a part of my life. And then the older we got, I could tell that it was different. It was like, okay, we're doing this as an athlete. It was more or less, okay, let's get serious. When I first started playing tournaments, believe it or not, I didn't have any power. So I just hit like lots of softballs. But I never gave up. It just brought this fight in me, and maybe that's why now I fight so hard for everything.
The sisters have combined to win 6 of the past 9 Grand Slam titles. Their influence and inspiration is far-reaching.
When Venus and I came on the scene, it was just like something different, and you don't see black people in the locker room, and I didn't know that we would influence a whole nation and culture and world to start playing and just bring a whole new look that extended outside of color, that just extended all boundaries. And I just want to go out there and win Grand Slams and win tournaments and be #1 in the world.
Serena Williams to join 8 other great champions of the past who at some time or another in their careers have won all 4 of the major titles.
It was different. It was like everyone looked at me different in the locker room. Everyone played me different, and so I had to like prove that I could win another Grand Slam and another and another. I had blood clots bilaterally in my lungs, and anyone knows that's not good. I didn't think about tennis at all. At that point, I thought, okay, I want to live. And then I was relieved for the first time in my life. I wasn't waking up thinking, okay, I gotta go to practice. I just gotta get better and heal. There's so much more to life than a sport. There's family, and there's God, and there's a bigger picture.
Stunning. The best possible medicine for Serena Williams. A 19th Grand Slam title.
I think when I came back after all that, I felt different. I felt like I'd been given a second chance, and I just felt like if I don't win, you know what, I'm gonna be alive. And I just started playing better because I wasn't so uptight and play loose and free, like you have nothing to lose. I feel like I'm being recognized for all the hard work that I've done. I feel like it was not only a win for me, but for all women in general. When you're breaking down barriers, there's gonna be moments where you're not gonna be comfortable. It takes a team and it takes a village, especially as women, to stand together and do things together is a good story that needs to be told.
In the last 20 years, there are more women earning their degrees, the income gap between men and women is narrowing, and there are now female CEOs in Fortune 500 companies. But there's still significant progress that needs to be made. With 3.5 billion women in the world, there are still stories that need to be told. This is why Makers is giving everyone the power to tell their story through the launch of the new Makers Stories app. And if you haven't done so already, I encourage you to check out the booth in the corner over there to learn more about the Maker Story app. But you can basically create your own amazing video that has music in the background. It's prompted with questions, and it ends up looking like a full production video that you can share with your friends, families. You can use it for a school project, an application for something to showcase what you're interested in, who you're inspired by. Definitely check it out. The Maker's Story app is designed to empower individuals to be their own storyteller. We want girls just like you to download the app, share their stories, and connect them with their friends and family. You can create your own makers videos that will live alongside our growing collection of women who are blazing the trail.
It's really fascinating because I've sort of accidentally become the weird girl in this world when what I thought I'd be was just sort of like the normal girl in a weird world. I grew up in a space where both my parents were artists. They went off to work to do their creative thing in their space, and I went off to do my creative thing in my space, which happened to be a closet off of my bedroom. Nothing was ever like a kid pursuit. If I drew a bunch of pictures, I'd say like, I'm having a gallery show in the back of the house. If I wrote 3 pages, I'd say, I've written a novel and I'm gonna bind it later. And I thought I might like to act. I never got parts in school plays, and when you're little, that's very discouraging. It's so funny to remember like the high school drama hierarchy. There were the ingenues, and then the girls who got the great character parts. I would go in and give what I thought were these killer auditions, and then I'd go to look at the cast list, and it was friend number 8. I was like, if you just give me a shot, I've got so much pizzazz. My father's a big source of advice, and he always said that you should go where there's a U-shaped hole in the world, where you see a space for yourself to make a difference and to be satisfied, and I've really tried to follow that advice to a T.
I think you're being mean.
I think you're being oversensitive.
I just got off a plane from Ohio. I'm in a postgraduate delirium.
I think you sound like you're in the epilogue to Felicity.
When I started acting in my own stuff, it was very much me thinking like, well, I don't have access to actors now, so I'll just do this temporarily until I have the right girl for this part, until I have the person who I think expresses everything I want to express. And then it just kind of kept on being me. I didn't like being 22 and jobless. I really hated it. In fact, I've made a whole show about how much I hated it. I didn't have a title for the show. It was the Untitled Lena Dunham Project for a long time, and it was actually Judd Apatow who was like, why don't we just call it Girls? I loved it and just thought, oh, how simple, oh, how tidy, let's go for it. I didn't know if I would get away with some of the sexual content. I didn't know what was allowed. I just kind of went in thinking everything was allowed.
I'm gonna go get some lube.
Why do we need to get lube?
I'm just wanting to express honestly what I've seen and felt, and it turns out that some people aren't in the mood to see that. I've definitely been surprised at times by how scandalized people have been by certain things. When someone asks, are the girls good role models? I'm like, are the guys on Entourage good role models? Is Larry David a good role model? And I love all of those people, and I'm psyched about what they do, and I resent being forced into a position of having to represent all of female sexuality.
It's a bummer because like she ruined it, but it's not.
How could you ruin the beautiful abortion that you threw?
Hannah.
People will often say, well, would you let your daughter watch the show? I'm like, first, I don't have a daughter, I have a dog. But I want to have a daughter, and I would like my daughter to see what I think is a realistic depiction of what a version of her life could be. And I also think that, not to go to bat for my own characters, but I think they're good role models and that they're trying really hard. I realized after having been in Hollywood for a little while that I was in this incredible position to actually make change. I never felt angry about sort of the criticism that was directed at the show because I knew it was an important conversation, and I was totally fine to kind of take one for the team if it was pushing that conversation forward. I definitely struggle a lot with how to assert myself. I can't go to set and behave like a brat, and I can't go to set and lose control, and that can be overwhelming because I still feel young. There's things I've handled badly, and there's things I've been proud of how I've handled. I'm proud of having navigated all of the exciting things that have happened to me without changing who I am or having a full-scale mental collapse. I'm proud of having been able to make work that women tell me has affected them and improve their relationships with themselves.
In closing, I also wanted to encourage the girls in the room who are interested in technology to participate in the second annual Built by Girls Challenge. I know you heard from some of the girls up here who participated in the Girls Who Code program and developed a site, and they're now running it. So the AOL Charitable Foundation is launching a new track of the Built by Girls Challenge called Let Girls Build, and it focuses on girls' education in developing countries. So if you're interested in developing a product or some sort of technology that you think can help girls in developing countries with girls' education, I highly encourage you to look into that. You can find more details on the Built by Girls website or follow it on social media. So we're basically asking girls to ideate on tech-enabled solutions to the challenges that the 62 million girls that are not in school face. And the finalists will be flown to San Francisco to pitch their ideas, and the winners will get to attend TechCrunch Disrupt, which is a really exciting opportunity.